Mark, another excellent win this afternoon. You must have been pleased with that, both the performance and the result.
Yeah, the result was great. It takes us back above St Johnstone. The performance though was terrific. I thought that we deserved to win by at least another goal. We should have probably have scored another goal. We had 3 or 4, really good chances. There'll be a few in the dressing room a little bit disappointed that they also didn't get in the score sheet. So overall, yeah, they defended when they needed to. They worked very, very hard and they played some good stuff.
Craig Sampson made his debut this afternoon. Conor Ripley not been well during the week. Really wasn't tested too much, but he made one fine save that kept his clean sheet intact.
Yeah, well, we've made it clear to Craig that he's wanted here again next year. So we do want to give him a little bit of a flavour of it. He's stood by Conor brilliantly. He works every day with Conor, remember, at training, and that's a big part of Conor's regime, having a buddy, to work with, and he's done that really brilliantly for us, so he deserves his chance. We'd intended to give him a couple of games before the end of the season, regardless of Conor being ill, but Conor being ill made it clear that we could give him this one. He'll get another one at least before the end of the season, but Conor's deserved his place in the team as well, and he'll want to play at Parkhead, for instance, so we've got to be fair to him, but Sammy's done brilliantly, and as I say, we want him here next year.
There was a real team performance, but there was 2 or 3 for me. Steve McManus was a bit of a rock at the centre of defence. Didn't allow one man to bully him, was on top of him right away and made sure there was no real threat at the back.
Yeah. I mean, he's been like that all season, he's brilliant, and, he marshals the younger ones, Ben, or as Kieran as it's been, gives them a great deal of help, communicates brilliantly with the goalkeeper, with the full-backs, with the midfield in front of them, works the team, marshals the team from the back. His performance was, for me, as it's been, he's been very, very consistent, but, there was performances all over the park that were top draw.
Yeah, another 2 I was going to pick out were young Chris Cadden and Scott McDonald, playing a slightly different role from normal, but didn't give Hearts a minute's peace in midfield, those 2 in particular.
Yeah, well, I mean, the energy, and Scott even made the comment himself, and then he's not quite sure where all that energy today came from. But, he's a good footballer, in terms of pure football, he's as good a footballer as we have at the football club. He's a knowledge of the game, and he has an understanding. He's shrewd, out there. He does things and he gets you things, using his football brain and using his experience. I was disappointed for him that he didn't score. He might have scored and that would have really rounded off. I thought probably, for me, he was probably a man of the match performance.
There were obviously a couple of injuries in the game. Josh Law limped off and Keith Laz went off at half time. Any idea of the extent of those 2 at the moment?
Laz has got a bit of a sore groin. He was debating whether he come back out for the second half. We didn't think we should risk it, which would suggest it's maybe not as bad as would keep him out next week, but it's difficult to say for sure. Josh got one of these blocks on the top of your foot that really is just very, very painful. They'll have it x-rayed, but I suspect, at worst he'll probably have a bit of bone bruising. Whether he'll be right for next week or not also remains to be seen, but I would suspect he wouldn't be far away.
I noticed you spent the first half in the director's box. Was that a change in your own mind just to see the game differently?
I do that with the Scotland, the national team. I go up in the stand and I watch the game from above, and I come back down with any information that I see. It's great for seeing the shape. And today I felt it was important to see, Lionel, how he was playing in the shape that we were asking him to play, and how Scotty, playing out of position a little bit, was playing. And that if I felt that it wasn't working, then I could see exactly where it was going wrong, and I'd be able to make the changes that I needed to make. But the shape was brilliant. They all worked it really, really well. Cads and Scotty, as you say, in the slightly wider of the midfield. Laz, when he played in the first half, was terrific. Jack came on and did that job in the second half. Jack Leach, and the 3 boys up front, never gave them a minute's peace.
Looking forward to Wednesday. It was a very young team that ended up in the park at the end with Ben Hall. I know they're not all eligible for Wednesday, but Ben Hall, Kieran Kennedy, Jack Leach, Chris Cadden, Joe Chalmers, all in the park at the end of the game. That must be pleasing looking forward as well.
Yeah, well, when I took the job, that was part of the sort of brief that I was given by Les, to get these young boys in the team. And I know things have changed a little bit, and Les has done this great sort of philanthropic gesture and handing the club over to the fans, but everything I do here has Les at the back of my mind. I'm not about to change my philosophy or change my ethos because Les isn't necessarily directly involved. I was brought here, I think his strategy was good and it's sound and it's working for us, so I'll continue to do that, and a big part of that is getting as many of these young boys in the team as I possibly can.
Obviously a very young bench as well. That just given somebody like Alan Campbell, for example, an exposure to the first team?
I'd love to have got him on. I'd love to get Dom on, but the injury to Josh, initially, the injury to Laz, we had to use two subs for injury, so that's put any possibility of getting those boys on the pitch. We couldn't, so that was a shame. I'd love to have got them out there and had those out there as well, but they're round about it. They're part of a winning team. It's really, really important to get that flavour of the dressing room and the side here, and they're up close and seeing what's happening on the side and from the side, and I think that's a great part of their development.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Mark.